Andrea, today we're going on a trip to Middleton. Are you excited to discuss some Good Witch and some secrets?
I am super excited.
Okay, well, this is Eric.
This is Andrea.
This is Hallmark Mysteries and
And
more.
more.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel.
We have a lot of actual news that's floating around that we can discuss before we do get into a little Good Witch.
Yeah. Well, should we start with mysteries?
Sure. So, Hallmark, in its usual Hallmark way, is kind of announcing something quite big. That's, I guess, we're sleuthers, so I guess they're leaving it a little bit for us to figure out too. They did share in the news that they're bringing some British mysteries over, some BritBox. The one that they actually gave a date for is Rosemary and Thyme, which is two women who are gardeners who get into the sleuthing. And that actually is April 3rd. So that would be right around the time this airs. And then, but in the clip, even though they don't mention it, they also show clips of Shakespeare and Hathaway, which is another BritBox mystery. And
Well,
that
I
one,
paused it. Didn't you see it? It said 4 new British mysteries.
and I haven't seen what the other two are though.
I
But
don't know
they
either.
didn't. They specifically have said when the Rosemary and Thyme is, but there's hasn't been any that I've seen yet. Now, by the time this airs, maybe it'll be blasted all over. They just show a couple clips that are in there, and since I have watched Shakespeare and Hathaway, I know who those characters are. That's one where there's a private investigator. This woman sort of stumbles in and becomes a private investigator with him. Lots of shenanigans. It's interesting because one of the things we always talk about, and I haven't knocked out all the way through it, but we always talk about, do they always have to have romantic, relations? I don't think these two do in Shakespeare and Hathaway. So if they do, it's down the road, but also they don't really seem like a couple on any level. So, and then I don't have no idea what the other two are because I haven't seen any hints or anything. It'd be amazing if they had Agatha Raisin come on over because that is literally a 10 right there.
I know I was trying to scroll right now and see if I any latest news as we're recording, but not that I'm seeing name wise. It just says still the 4 mysteries. Yeah, well, actually, here it does say the Shakespeare and Hathaway, Rosemary and Thyme.
Oh, it does.
So
Does it give a date for the Shakespeare and Hathaway?
I believe it's going to be dropped on Thursdays.
Okay.
That's all it says. So maybe 1 new episode a week. Are we getting the whole series drop on that Thursdays? So who knows?
So we have Rosemary and Thyme is 3 seasons. It's like 6 episodes, 9. Shakespeare and Hathaway is 4 seasons. I don't know off the top of my head how many episodes those are as well. So they'll go on for a while.
Well, that's exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
I was hoping they would put Diagnosis Murder on because I cannot watch it anywhere, but it's on the regular Hallmark Mystery channel. But again, I rarely watched it live because I would always record it on my Friendly. But now that I got rid of Friendly, since I have Hallmark Plus, I realized I'm oh, I can't watch it because typically in the mornings I'm getting kids ready for school. And so I'm not able to sit and just have it on. So I that is something that I wish they would put on to the Hallmark Plus app. I also wish they would put Golden Girls on there because it's the same thing. I now have Hulu because I wanted to finish my High Potentials, show on ABC. But I also would love to, watch the Golden Girls an episode or so at night because it's a nice calming show. And so little things like that, I feel could make that Hallmark Plus experience just exactly what your Hallmark viewer enjoys, of just those standby TV. Even I was talking to one of my clients who does not a Hallmark person, but she loves the Golden Girls. She was yeah, I would even think about doing a Hallmark Plus for that price, just so I could watch my Golden Girls and I wouldn't have to figure out where do I watch it each night? Because she rotates through which streamers she has each month. And so it's a nice little idea, I thought, because for that price, you might have some people who like these shows who are willing to pay it just so they could watch some of those old standby series.
So Golden Girls is on Hulu.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess there. It's and for everyone out there, Andrea is a true cord cutter where you don't have any like you don't have YouTube TV, Direct TV, cable. You are strictly a streamer at this point.
Correct. My husband has, well, I guess maybe he does not. He has access from his brother at times if needed for live sports.
Oh,
We'll stop there.
that's the world of streaming.
Yes.
We did have someone who in one of our comments said something like they asked, do they need Friendly and Hallmark Plus? What do you feel like you're missing out now that you don't have Friendly anymore? Or are you feeling pretty much you got it covered with
No, it's
Plus?
just my diagnosis murder. Like that's my main one. You know, like right now, again, since I'm paying for Hulu, I can get my Golden Girls. But now I watched the rest of High Potential. I probably won't keep it because that was my main goal is to finish High Potential and then I get rid of it the next month again, which, oh my gosh, High Potential got so good. Highly recommend, Eric. I know you weren't a fan, but they have such a great cliffhanger.
I made it through
like
7 and I just was like, oh,
it's
all right.
good.
So
it's
suck
good.
it up and just
I think you'll like the cliffhanger that they left us on too. So
wait, a cliffhanger? Oh no, we know how we all feel about cliffhangers.
Well, they have already renewed it for season 2, so
okay,
it's a good one. So
okay, well, what else do we have going on in the world of Hallmark?
Okay, so they had their big announcement of another football movie coming this Christmas. So I have thoughts. I will say this. So I had posted that I was not super excited for this. And I had the most DMs I've ever had, ever, about anything I've ever shared or posted. I had almost 30 DMs right after I posted that of people saying, why are they doing this? This is the worst thing ever. Not one person who DM'd me was excited for this. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm like, wow, a ton of people, instantly were like, no, nobody wants more football because nobody comes to Hallmark to watch football. Like, sure, one novelty Kansas City movie, sure. But now we're going to have, Buffalo Bills is now going to be the team. Like, people don't care enough about, one, sports and Hallmark comboed together. And two, football in general. Like, of all the leagues, NFL is not supportive of women. And we're going to partner with a women's network, basically. Like, what? So that to me is a head scratcher. I'm not a big fan of this. Like, it feels very much like, hey, let's get as much money as we can because the NFL is hot and they, I'm sure they made a ton of money from last year's. They did a ton of promo for it. We don't know who the leads are going to be in this, which for me, I don't really care. I hope it's kind of leads that I'm a big fan of. So I'm not missing something because I'll watch it, but I'm not excited for this partnership whatsoever. What about you? Because you are a football fan.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I will say is they did choose at least a team that doesn't have like a lot of people out there hating them. Whereas the Chiefs, just as soon as you saw it, was completely polarizing because so many people hate the Chiefs because they've had a lot of success the last few years. There's a perceived bias for the officiating for them and just the whole I have no problem with it, but the Taylor Swift connection where football fans hate it because they always show Taylor Swift in the stands. And so Chiefs have just become totally polarizing. So the Bills are at least not that, but I'm with you. Now, I particularly like the movie to me was just okay. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was terrible. It was just okay. I definitely don't think it was worth going back to the well for again. It's like, hey, we did something unique. We did something different. Great. Now let's move on and let's do something different. So I don't know. They also, it'll be interesting to see about their celebrity, appearances in this one because they don't have quite the same level of, the Kelsey with having, they have Josh Allen, but other than that, they don't really have a lot of celebrity takeoffs. So it'll be interesting to see who does cameos and things like that in this one. But I think Buffalo, I think was a better option than the Chiefs, and I wish they had done it last season for that one instead of the Chiefs. But
I
Hallmark's
mean, it makes
located in
sense.
Kansas City and
Exactly.
all
I was like,
that,
it makes
so
sense.
it
So
does. But yeah, I'm with you. We'll see. We'll see, and I hope it's dramatically different story, and they don't just sort of use a similar type. Oh, we're an ultimate fan, and whatever.
well, and I hope they
Try to
don't do
spin
one
that.
every single like year for a different football team. Like that seems a little
They'll
overkill.
probably stick Tyler in it again just because
A
hey,
little
Tyler's gold,
overkill.
and everything with
Oh
Tyler will get viewers. So just
gosh.
run it back with him.
Okay, well, speaking of head scratching. So I'm listening to your interview with Kylie Evans, and you say that when you have a dream about your wife, you wake up and you're mad at her the next day, the whole next
Well,
day.
not any dream. Sometimes we get in
Eric,
a little fight.
even Kylie like had a pause of like, what do I say to this? And I'm like, no, what? You're exhausting, Eric. What? You don't actually. Is this for real?
Yes, you've never like woken up mad
Maybe
because
a hot second, but not for like a whole day.
well, no, I don't let it roll for a whole day, but
Oh my gosh,
I
Eric.
wake up in a bad mood because she's
No, Eric.
terrible.
No, Eric. So bad. So bad. Oh, so I just had to give you grief on that. And I did
Why
listen.
don't we talk about Little Middleton at this point now?
Now I've embarrassed you. All right.
She deserves it
So,
though. Sometimes
oh
she's
my
terrible. Sometimes
gosh.
she's terrible.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the episode we're reviewing today is called Good Witch: The Grey House Secrets. The author of a series of novels comes to Grey House to celebrate the release of her newest book, The Enchantress Unites. But it's Cassie who ends up doing the uniting, bringing together the people of Middleton while also coming to a special realization about Sam. This movie originally aired in 2016. All right, so for myself, 5 out of 5. I loved this movie. um, we had so much fun, so many fun characters that have now since come on to be really big in the Hallmark sphere. Christopher Russell had just that little bit of cameo. Terrell Rothery also was in this one, and she has now had a bigger Hallmark career. Jefferson Brown, who just had this such a little tiny role in this movie, but obviously, he's Colton in The Way Home. So we had some really great surprise. I didn't remember any of them were in this little cameos. The shops felt really this is like the start of Middleton being what it is in the show. So 2016, we still haven't gotten the full makeup of Middleton as it is now. And so things were just starting to kind of roll. And so I loved seeing that and, seeing the progress of things. I also like that we had Derek. Very briefly, we had Derek in this movie, who is the police officer, and then he kind of disappears in the later movies. So I like that he was briefly in there. Of course, Martha is doing her Martha things. We have Grace, who is rock climbing with her friend and has an accident. We have a book launch happening. We have Sam and his intense schedule, Stephanie and Abigail fighting, George painting a ceiling. I mean, everyone had something to do.
George painting a ceiling is exciting.
Well, for him, it is. I mean, because it did play a huge role at the end of the movie. Like, he's painting that ceiling for purpose, because then, oh, this is where we want to have the book launch, is, after the thing falls off, or the little tarp falls off of the fireplace. And so everything was done with purpose. That's also why I really like the Good Witch movies, is nothing was done without it being somehow tied to the overall plot. Like, there was a purpose for everything. And so that to me is something I really appreciate about this series, is it is done really well. Like The Way Home, I think, is doing, or trying to do. We just don't always see it in the time that we're watching it. It's, eventually it all pulls together. But these movies, I feel like we can see it because it's just in this 1 hour film that we pull all these strings together to make this fit and to have Cassie have her profound, prolific Cassie moments. And, oh, is she a real witch or is she just really, very intuitive, wise woman? So, yes, love it, love it, love it. I do have a question though, because I found this to be interesting. So they had the reading, which took place at midnight. And then we see them go back to town hall at like what, 1 a.m. to celebrate some
I have
more?
that in my notes too. I'm like,
I'm
what
like,
the heck kind of town is
what?
this?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, how late are people staying up? Like midnight, I'm calling it a night. And no, we are going to go
That
back to town hall and have some more fun.
that's what
So
they said. We're going to do the reading at midnight and then we'll go off and do the event. And that's my note. I'm like, wait, what?
I know.
I can't
And
even
they
make it to
did.
midnight on New Year's, much less for a reading of this book and then going off and partying.
Yes. I mean, they had the party before and then they went into the midnight reading and then they went back to the party. I'm like, wow, this is a lot. So that town can really get down, is what I've also learned. So those were my thoughts. Loved, loved, loved it. What about you?
Okay, I have my question to start. Where do you think Middleton is? Well, first of all,
Massachusetts.
when have you watched all of Good Witch, the movies and the series?
Yes.
Has it been like a minute though?
Yes.
Okay, same here. So I honestly, I think mine was I had downloaded it. I remember when I was flying, we went to Europe for vacation. That was like the thing I was watching the whole flight was like. So I watched them all. It has been a minute. I've come back and watched a couple of them here and there. But okay, Middleton, you're guessing is Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It's actually located as a suburb of Chicago.
But is that where this is set?
Well, it's good. No, I mean that's where Middleton, yeah, that's where this fictional Middleton is because they always in other episodes always talk about how they're going to Chicago for this or that.
Really?
Yeah, because it seems like it's the Northeast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've always been like found that interesting
Huh.
when they would pack up and go do something, and it explains why when they also go to the hospital where Sam works is like a major hospital, not a little small town hospital.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's a little bit of, I guess I could have saved it for trivia, but I just have so much more trivia later that we get to. I gave this one somewhere just north of a 4.
Okay.
And the only reason why is because The Good Witch is such a great series that I just know there's other ones that are like you just perfect movies. And this one, it had a couple like little things that left me scratching the head. For example, oh, let's have a midnight party and then go out and have a fair. Things like that. Little things like that's the only reason why I knock it down because I am with you 100%. The relationships through all of this, every character, how they interact, like it is such a puzzle that all comes together. There's a ton of tension in it, but the tension is all serving some purpose that later is like, oh, well, this, it's going here, it's going there. Just love it. Terrell Rothray, put her in everything. She is so good. She's in the show you love, Virgin River, as well. She's in every fifth Hallmark movie, so can never get enough of her. She always delivers. And seeing her and Martha sort of going back at it was just priceless. Loved it. And then, of course, Stephanie and Abigail, who we have seasons worth of, those two, those two are amazing together. And it's like, and I was watching it and I was thinking about you and Spencer sisters because how when Darby and Victoria, they're sort of like they have it, and that kind of made you a little uncomfortable sometimes. Now, I had to ask, does like Abigail and Stephanie's conflict also give you that sort of
They're not mother-daughter.
uneasiness?
No, they're not mother-daughter.
Okay, so because they can be rivals and so because
Wow.
they have great barbs and I
Yeah.
love the way that they go after it. But even Sam, this one just had tension galore. I just talked about uh, the mayor with Martha and Meredith, her old college friend. We have Abigail and Stephanie. But you even have Sam and Cassie, who is not necessarily like fighting, but there's this tension in their relationship. Like, what's going on? At first, Sam's kind of blowing her off, and then Sam's like, oh no, she's, clinging on. I don't know what to do. So great tension. And like you said, it all just builds to the end where most of it all just comes together so beautifully. Absolutely loved it. The other little things in there were like the little fun with Martha teasing Nick, like, oh, you're just not, I'm not quite getting it for your British accent, which he's British, right?
Eric ruined my trivia.
That's not trivia. That's like,
My
you can do, if
trivia.
that's your trivia,
That's all I
you need to
had.
do more
Thanks, Eric.
research.
That's
Oh,
all I
that's
did.
seriously. But she's teasing him,
Jeez.
and then later on, oh, I'm just not believing that. Then later on, Sam comes in and it's like, oh, you got a little American creeping in on your accent there. So those just I found that just wonderful little Easter eggs that were, stuck in there. The other thing is you talked about the Cassie shop. Did you notice it wasn't the
Bell Book
Belwick?
and Candle.
Yeah, it was like apothecary or whatever you pronounce it.
Apothecary. It's
Yeah, so
apothecary.
it wasn't quite, and I don't
But I thought
know.
they were changing the name of the town like to match the book. That's what I think they were doing.
So yeah, I
So
didn't.
like all of them matched the book titles, and so they purposely did that.
Oh, so that wasn't. It was
Right.
covered up to match the book.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense because I was like trying to
Yeah.
remember. I'm like, did they do a rebrand of it at
No,
some
I think
point? So
that's what they were
okay,
doing.
okay. The and I guess I'll save it for a little bit later with when we get into our character corner.
I'm gonna try to scramble and find them other trivia. But first of all,
If that's
before
your
we get
trivia,
there,
you deserve to be outed. That's as
that
bad
was
as
good
your other
trivia.
like.
That was good trivia. People might I would have known that. I didn't know. Well, mystery minute. The mystery, I feel like, where's the book launch going to happen? Because that was what they spent a good amount of the movie trying to do. Um, I guess the mystery at the end, also could be the bricks and the necklace. It just peak Good Witch vibes of magic happening. Like, oh, suddenly the fire lights. I mean, all of that to me is mystery, a little intrigue, but it's also Cassie and totally a good witch thing that happens in all of these movies. So it worked for me. And like just having her, even when Grace got hurt, having Cassie just was chill. I mean, like concerned that my daughter's in the hospital, but still, she is very even keel, just an even keel magic person. So, I mean, that was kind of where I took the mystery minute. I enjoyed the couple that came in for the book launch. I thought they added something to the movie. Sometimes they don't always add. I thought they added. So for me, they worked. What about you?
Yeah, I loved the couple and how that like not necessarily the mystery, but the romance because they usually also have a romance that goes in that goes. And as you said, the way Cassie magic, intuition, whatever it is, that's Cassie, right? She is just spectacular at that. It's her delivery, it's the writing. It's just a great character. And even so far as, for me, I'll say the mystery for me was how is Abigail going to juggle the three guys? And but you have Cassie sort of, oh, hey, look, I just happened to get an invite. Oh, I just happened to see an ad. They're the things that we're left wondering, is this Cassie magic or is it really just some coincidence where we never know? And that's the whole mystery to Cassie, which I absolutely love. And the funny thing, now let's go on a little history trip here. I was not like totally down for Good Witch at first. Like I was like, oh, and it was still going. I think it was like the last season, and I was just like, it doesn't seem like my kind of thing. I'm not going to get into it. And then I just started like binging it, and yeah, I was hook, line, and sinker. But I think like you said, there's also the mystery of going through and finding out the secret. I thought for me though, some of the things where it failed were, and this is why it was the four, not the five. Like this sort of the plot holes. Like, oh, I drop the lighter and all of a sudden the brick comes loose and then I forget about the lighter, but there's the fire going underneath, like little weird type things like that where you can just see like don't think about it, just roll because as soon as you put a little bit of thought there, you'll be like, wait a minute, what's this? Kind of like a party at 1 o'clock at night, which doesn't quite make sense. So, there's like a couple little things like that, or when they're bash the wall and all of a sudden Stephanie sticks her head out, like, hey, what are you doing? Yet behind the wall is this
That would not
room
have
that
been her.
room that no one knew about. So it's like, well, how did Stephanie get in there then? And she wasn't in there later. So little
No,
things like
nobody was.
right. But it was just like little things like that just kind of added up for me. And then also like the little box, which I thought was cool. But then wouldn't you notice a big old ring box? Like it was only so big for that ring box to fit in there. Like she would have known with the necklace too. So like I said, there's little things like that that kind of distracted for me. But once again, it was a distraction that drove it down to a 4. So it just tells you how good this is overall.
Well, romance roundup. Cassie and Sam, they're still not together, it seems like, in this movie. And so definitely romance vibes there. She left it, at the end of basically expressing her feelings to him, which I loved. And totally it fits her character. Like she is the person who is like, yeah, I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna speak my truth and just tell him. And so I loved that choice. Whoever, made that choice, brilliant. So that to me worked. And again, I enjoyed the couple that came in, the author, and I thought they also added in with their couple stories. Now, I also remember thinking Grace and Nick, thankfully, they never got together. I'm sure they probably were thinking, like, we can't. But I remember when they first kind of came on, I was like,
Right.
oh, we're thinking they're going to get together. But then as you're like thinking about that, like, wait a second, if parents get together, no, 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 we don't want them to get together. So I'm sure there was
Yep.
kind of an about face of like, nope, we keep them as friends. We keep them as brother sister vibes. Let's not go past that. So I like that they maybe did a about face. I feel like maybe in this movie because I do remember thinking they kind of have the romance vibes maybe in the first movie when they were introduced and then whoop, nope, let's not go there.
They probably were doing that, and all of a sudden someone's like, hey, wait, raise their
That
hand.
doesn't make
You
sense.
understand what's going to happen when Cassie and Sam get together, right? And all of a sudden the person was like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Nope.
never
Can't have
mind.
that.
Bring cue Courtney, bring Courtney in
Yes. Bring
quick.
any other little teenage girls.
Right. I'm
Oh,
with you 100%. That ending in Cassie's line to
so
Sam,
good.
that 10 out of 10, perfect. Once again, the writing perfect and Catherine Bell's delivery perfect. The chemistry, and I've talked about this before, the chemistry between those two, and it's partly when we go back to our Christmas movies, why I like Christmas Lane so much, their movie. I think just the two of them, there's some people who just connect, and they are two of them. It's just magic. And so
James
I
Denton's
love
got
it.
that with Terry Hatcher too, like Desperate Housewives. I mean, like he's just a good, probably just a solid on-screen partner then that he can build up that chemistry. He's been paired well because he definitely has that, I think, with different co-stars I've seen him with.
And I agree with you. I thought it was a really cute romance about how the editor's just in love with his writer and doing all the little things for her. And then finally, it's like, and Cassie with her little things. Like sometimes things are right in front of you that you don't know, and like doing metaphors with the book, but really it's talking about love. So once again, really cute relationship in that. And like you said, they're not always perfect there, but this one really was. But then I'm going to go back to Abigail and her little triad, like all those guys, and she's, juggling the dates, and then they show up, and at the end when they're like, "Wait a minute, you're dating him? No, you're dating him? No, she's dating me." And when they all come together and they're all like, "Hey, we're out of here," and she's like, "Wait, none of you are going to fight for me?" And they're like, "Nah," which that was kind of harsh in a way, and of course, they had Abigail come in and say, "You know what? It made me realize I really want a person. But it was just kind of funny that because it was such an Abigail response of like, wait, you guys aren't fighting for me, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm sorry that I was triple timing you guys and everything like that. So it doesn't even register for her. Just loved that little fun side storyline.
Well, Eric, sliding into our character corner, mine is Abigail, and I was going to bring up the scene you just brought. You're killing
Well,
me today, Smalls. Killing me. So,
well,
yeah.
that's fine for stealing because Abigail was mine, and now I'm going to have to pivot.
Wait, no, for real? We
Yes,
both picked Abigail?
Abigail is amazing character, but go ahead, you can have her.
That's
I
funny.
took your trivia, I
Um,
took your other
well, I
things,
was
so you
like,
can
no,
have
he's
Abigail.
already picked Abigail before. He's not going to pick her again. Well, he does. I think she has great fashion in this movie throughout the whole movie. But I also loved her just attitude and just straight fire with those three guys. And I mean, just at the end, how none of them realized it until one just turned to mention it, and then the other two, what? Like, what? No, she's with me. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate her banter. And I was trying to think of who else because there's so many characters you could have picked for character corner,
Right.
and I'm like, I feel like it's gonna have to be. I don't think I've picked her before. I think I picked Stephanie, and you've picked Abigail, but I really enjoyed her, and I thought I wanted to give her Sarah Powers her flowers for this one, just because she was my standout. From what this is maybe our third Good Witch that we've done, I think.
Maybe.
I think we've done a couple others because I remember picking. Maybe not. Is this our
Maybe.
second or third?
I know we did the Halloween one. Do we do another one?
I don't remember. But maybe we did an episode. I'm not sure. But she is wonderful. If you have not seen these movies, like how I would recommend, I would probably say if you wanted to get a whole Good Witch vibe, go back to those first movies that aired with her original husband, just so you can kind of get a feel for what they were like. I don't think they were I think they're good. They're not as good as what Good Witch
Oh,
evolved into. And then throw in the show, obviously, and then with the movies, because then the show and the movies are kind of towards the later seasons. They would do the series and then they would do a movie, usually around Halloween. I wish they would just bring a Halloween movie and just throw those in there. Why not now? Present day, just throw them once a year. That would be great. I think they have a solid enough foundation of people who love these movies, but that would be my recommendation. If you haven't watched The Good Witch, they would be worth a view, I think.
I think you could even jump in at the series, but I agree with you that
Have you ever seen the first few?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're darker vibe. They're a more
They're
intense, darker vibe.
oh, I'm not
Um,
saying don't. I'm just saying
yeah.
you could hop into the series and you don't necessarily miss out because it is, I think, very distinct difference of the two.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And
Sam's just better too.
they don't reference a ton about her first husband. So, and the kids, they just kind of disappear as the series goes on. We don't hear from them. We don't know about them. They're just not there. So, what about you? Who'd
They
you
come
pick?
back, Dean, but he comes back a different person because I don't think Dean Genet or Genoed or however you pronounce his name. I don't think he's the son.
Dan Jayonette.
Yeah, I don't think he's the I don't think he's the son in the original. I think he comes in just the series, if I'm not mistaken. Going off memory. Well, Abigail, by the way, the other thing I'll say with Abigail is to have that personality, like you say, she is just literally fire, yet she's able to do it and still be likable, which I think is
Mm.
like it could very easily be someone who you just don't like, and yet she's just likable because of her just bluntness and like just I don't care attitude. So I guess I'm going to go then with like, you could go like you said, so many characters. I'll just go with Martha. Martha is Catherine Disher is just amazing. I love her. Like there's Martha isms who you can just go with. She's kind of like the same thing as Abigail a lot, where it's just this like oblivious to everybody else type thing, but not in a bad way, in a way that just always makes you smile. And I loved her little, you know, rivalry with her old college friend there. So, she's great. If you watch the series, you will just love Martha. And it made like why part of the reason why the whole Love on the Danube was so exciting to see her come back and get to see her, as a character again, because she is just brilliant and so much fun. And throughout the entire thing of, coming together, like, oh, I'm going to, with, 7 hours to go, demand that the entire city transform into this new imaginary city. So Martha Mayer, I'd vote for her.
Well, Hallmark trivia. My trivia was that Nick is actually British, and they asked him to use a British accent. So that was
That's
a bummer
fascinating.
that Eric ruined that. So I found another one as we're talking. So Jake is the actor who played. His name is Chris Potter. He played Jake. And so the reason that Hallmark made Cassie a widow for the series is because Potter wasn't available to film when they needed him. And so Catherine Bell explained that they decided to make Cassie a widow after Potter's busy schedule. So she was like, what do we do? How do we stay true to fans and honor this character that everybody loved? So we decided the best way to do it was to age forward and fast forward the timeline, which made sense for progression. And so then they had that happen, which I did not realize that was the main reason why.
What's the best thing we can do to remain true? Kill them.
I mean, otherwise you're going to be like, do they, why would you divorce? Right. Or, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
And Hallmark, as we all know from their Christmas movies, they love to have a good widow story. So why not?
Had to be.
What do you got then?
Well,
I feel like that was pretty good for coming up with it on the fly.
It is.
As we're chatting. Thanks.
I did not know that. So that was good trivia as opposed to the other one, which everybody knows. Okay. Catherine Bell was a contestant on the Match Game and went by the name Kathy Bell when she was on there way back when, before her whole acting career took off. Like so many people, actors in Hollywood were in different game shows.
Serial killer, right? Is that the same one?
Catherine Disher. Oh, no, was that? Yeah, actually, yeah. No, that was the dating game, I think. I think that's the dating game.
Oh, okay. That's not the same thing.
Yeah, the one that Ted Bundy was on. Catherine Disher wanted to be a zoologist and even worked with dolphins, training them on phonetics.
I feel like that is every little girl's dream, because that was my dream for a long time too. I used to be like, I'm going to do dolphin training and work at the zoo.
And she did it for a little while. And the last is Sarah Power, our combined character spotlight. We know who her husband is, Peter Mooney,
just kidding,
who is at this moment filming Mistletoe Murders 2. Well, I don't know if they're actually filming yet or if they're just still doing pre-production of it. But I do know that on Saturday they did the table read for the script. So
exciting.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. All right. Well, Hallmark and chill. I feel like this episode from Murder, She Wrote really hits home here. Season 5, episode 13, Fire Burn, Cauldron Bubble. Jessica is suspicious when the appearance of a long-dead ghost of a witch burned at the stake coincides with the release of a book on the same manner. So we got some book release, we got witch talk, we got cauldrons bubbling. I figured that's a great Murder, She Wrote episode to check out.
All right. I like it. I absolutely forgot to do some homework and chill. So I'm going to say,
double down on that Murder, She Wrote episode.
Go ahead and stream some Rosemary and Thyme. And if Shakespeare and Hathaway is available, go ahead and stream that. I think they're fantastic gateways from Good Witch.
Well, fan corner. This one has a
why do people call me half baked? I don't get it.
fan corner is a 7.8 on IMDb. That's the only fan corner since I didn't ask a poll on that one.
Okay. For us, we did get another thing from our podcast, our fan mail. Great interview with Tess Atkins, Eric. How nice. Dolores gets married to the doctor in the books, so maybe it should be her wedding. So when in the interview, when Tess was saying she thought it'd be great to have a wedding in there, so maybe
What doctor? Do we have a doctor that Dolores on the actual Hannah?
I didn't say doctor. Maybe Dolores gets married. Oh, to the doctor. Um, who do we?
We've never been introduced. I don't think we've been introduced to a doctor on Hannah. That would be cool. I mean, I don't mind
So
it.
yeah,
I don't
let's
hate
see
that
Dolores. So I agree. It would be hilarious and fun seeing Dolores get married. All we need now is a doctor.
idea. Love it. Okay, well, next week we are going to be interviewing April Tellick. And April's been in a ton of Hallmark mysteries. So when we were kind of looking through her IMDb and just being like, okay, which one? Since Aurora, the new Aurora, is going to air on Hallmark for the first time, we've already watched it. We already reviewed it. Highly recommend. It is our favorite from the series. That will be airing on April 10th. So we decided we're going to do the Aurora Tea Garden, You Reap What You Sow, which April is also in. And so we're going to throw it back to an old Aurora in honor of the new Aurora being out, as well as having April playing a role there, which I have watched almost all of it. So I do know, and I do remember this movie. So I do remember the killer and all the things, but I think it's a fun one. It's a unique one, a unique role that April is playing that I don't think I recall her playing this in any other mystery one. So that's also kind of fun to see her in a little different lens. So I think I don't know if you're gonna enjoy the movie, Eric. We won't go that far because I won't say that this is my favorite Aurora, but I think you will enjoy seeing April in it. We'll tell you that.
Well, I will say that's the one thing about April. Sometimes she's the killer, sometimes she's a suspect, but she is always just a awesome character. I am so excited to talk to her. It's it's weird because she's not a lead, she's like not a reoccurring character in anything either. Yet this is
If you
like
watch
I am
mysteries, you see her a lot.
right. I am just so looking forward to this because she also just seems like an absolutely hilarious person. It's funny because when we're not recording and I've talked, as we're getting ready to record or right after we record and talking to other actors and things like that, it's amazing how many people will just mention her name and how like she's just such a great human
Awesome.
being and such like she seems like she is literally friends with everybody on the planet. So super excited for this interview.
Perfect.
And it
All
will be
right.
worth it to watch an Aurora Tea Garden to see her.
And she's also in a couple garage sales. I will say I would maybe recommend if you are a purist and you
She's in like
enjoy.
3, isn't she?
She is in, yeah, she's in the pilot and then 2 others. I think the medieval one, which I would recommend that one, and Searched and Seas, which I believe is the one that never aired. It has now, but that was the one that they pulled off the shelves because of Lori's scandal that happened. That I think is the very last one. So that one is okay, but I feel like because it kind of got pushed production and finalized, it might have been missing something, but I would recommend the medieval one. Of the ones I've seen April in, that I don't remember her role in that one, but of the movie mysteries themselves, that would be the mystery. If you also want to watch her in something else, I would recommend that one.
Okay. Well, until next, and by the time when we talk again, I expect you to at least have watched the pilot of Rosemary and Thyme, so you can start getting into my British. Like I've got my Brit box an Acorn that I've kept both. The British ones are just so good, so good.
And then I think after Aurora, we're going to go into Emma Fielding because we have had several requests to hit up that series next because people want to know if we are going to like that one better. So I'm excited.
Fascinating because I remember when we talked about this a little bit. loving Fixer Upper,
And
not so
Emma.
loving
Yeah.
the Emma Fielding.
I
And it'll be
enjoyed-
interesting to see if it maybe holds up better.
Yeah.
And now I like it more.
Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of. I have not revisited that at all, probably since it originally aired. So that will be a fun one for us to look into.
We just mentioned Tess Atkins. Tess Atkins, I think she's like her graduate student or something.
Ooh, that's
She's got whatever main secondary character. She's in all 3 episodes. So we get to see her again before she was Michelle.
I love it.
All right. Well, Andrea, until next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.